Welcome to Real Estate Exposed, helping people in San Diego buy, sell, and refinance their biggest investment, delivering you timely truths, exposing important issues, and helping you get into the right home. Here are your hosts, real estate expert Daniel Beer, top-ranked professional by sales volume at one of San Diego's largest brokerages, and his mortgage partner, Todd Pianin, with over $2 billion in funded loans.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to Real Estate Exposed. Daniel Beer with the Daniel Beer Group, and my man here, Todd Pianin. What's happening, Todd?
Not much, Dan. Happy
Home
Sunday.
Street Bank. Man, this guy and your loan programs. You saved another one for us here recently on Toiletry.
Two.
The second one, jog my memory?
Jog my memory. The Win.
Win. Correct. This guy, I'm telling you, thank goodness that we pre-qualify every one of the buyers that we have come through on our listings with Todd and his team, his partner Taisha and his team at Home Street Bank, because we are seeing a lot of issues popping up with buyers. We're able to disqualify too good to be true offers that sometimes come through. You ever notice that highest offer, the one that sometimes is just way out there, well, it's for a reason. There might be some underlying issues with that buyer that need to be uncovered.
Too good to be true.
Well, sometimes that unqualified buyer is going to need to prop their offer up and make it,
right,
puff it up a little bit to make it attractive.
Well, then they also hope the appraisal comes in lower, right, afterwards, so then they can renegotiate down to what they actually qualify for.
Exactly. So
right.
What we do is we qualify every one of the buyers that come through on our listings with Todd and his team. And then Todd will green light or red light them based on qualifications. Even if they move forward with another lender, as we recently had somebody move forward with Chase then actually denied them on the loan. But I wasn't worried because Todd had given us a green light. We got the loan over to Todd. We're all set to close. And everything is
next week.
Fine. We're closing next week on this thing.
15 days.
So that's something that you need to do. Okay, if you're selling your home, everybody knows about getting with the lender if they're buying.
Right.
But if you're selling your home, you need to also have a lender in your corner that's going to do the same, give you the same service. There's no cost to you as a seller, but that lender is going to be in your corner to make sure that all those offers coming through, and you're going to have a lot of offers if you employ the right process and the right strategy, such as our 5-day blitz. He's going to qualify them and make sure to tell you who's just, pushing the limits on what they're really going to qualify for and who you're safe to do a deal with. And that's just been a huge game changer, Todd, for our clients.
Well, thank you. Can we talk about the 5-day blitz for a second? It's pretty funny. So I get a call over the weekend from one of your clients, right, that you're going to do the 5-day blitz for, and he wants to write an offer on a house non-contingent. Does really, really well. Makes a good amount of money, has a lot of money in his retirement, but they own their house free and clear. And he's like, I've heard the stories. I've heard it being, that Dan is amazing, that Dan's team can get things closed faster than anybody else, but I need to know if I can get a loan with 10% down on this house. I'm moving up to Northern California. I want to see if I can get a loan just in case Dan can't sell the loan. I said, how long of an escrow period are you going to do? He goes, 45 days. I go, can I tell you in the last quarter, which is 2.5 months actually, not the last full quarter, 2.5 months, I said that Dan's buyer's agents have written non-contingent offers, and Dan has sold the houses, and we've closed them on time concurrently in less than 30 days.
That's right.
I mean, if you follow Dan's 5-day blitz that we talk about the home selling seminar, he gives it away to you for free. I tell you, but the person I'm talking to on the other line was already picking Dan to represent him on his home, but he's like, really? He goes, I go, yeah. I go, really? He goes, are you? Dan's actually, you think it'll close before, so I won't even need to get a loan because they want to pay cash for the house, right? And I'm like, yeah. I go, we can go through the process. I have no problem. I'll back you up. But let me just tell you, if you're doing the 5-day blitz program, I don't know where you are in the process of staging your home or some of the tips and tricks that Dan gives out when he lists one of your homes. But let me tell you, it will be sold, and you probably won't need a loan. I mean, your team and you are amazing.
Well, appreciate that, Todd. And but it works both ways, because what we've been able to do, see, a lot of you are trying to line up the sale of your home with the purchase. How do you purchase when you have to sell? What we're able to do, because we can predictably know when your home will sell, right? We know that predictably your home is going to sell within 5 days of going on market using our 5-day blitz trademark process. And so by doing that, we're able to get you locked into a purchase. Where we're going to do, is negotiate the longest possible contingency periods without them being tied to having to sell your home. Because as long as we do it without it tied to having to sell your home, it's going to be a more attractive offer to the person selling you their property. So you're going to be able to buy, not contingent on the sale of your home, but we're going to build you as much contingency period as we can with for your investigations. What we're then going to do on the sale of the home you're selling is negotiate the shortest possible contingency period. So in other words, we're going to get your buyer to perform faster.
You're going to squeeze their buyer.
Yeah, we're going to get your buyer to perform faster.
Right.
While giving you more time. That way, you're not going to be committed to your purchase until your buyer's been committed to the home you're selling.
Hence why we've closed 10 of them, because you squeeze the buyers, and most other lenders can't perform under those time frames that you squeeze them to.
So you're listening to Real Estate Exposed. This is News Radio 600 KOGO. I'm Daniel Beer, the Daniel Beer Group. Todd Pianin here of Home Street Bank. And if you want to connect with us on anything related to buying or selling, you can call 800-676-2420. That number is 800-676-2420, and we're really looking forward to connecting with you. Let's find out how we can put a plan in place for your purchase, or how we can line up that sale and purchase that you might be trying to put in place. And if you want to know more about the 5-day Blitz process, which, by the way, we've brought 6 homes to market over the course of the last 2 weekends. 6 homes to market, and all 6 have gone under contract. We've sold 52 homes year to date. Okay,
we should have like a sound. We should have a sound effect for that, Mike. We should have like a huge sound effect. 52 homes have sold.
That's just here in the first quarter.
That's unbelievable.
Okay, you're talking about a home about every day and a half or so.
Yep.
And it is about having a systematic process that's been proven over and over. You know, just yesterday I met with a home seller, and they said that they met with someone that their credit union recommended, and then they also met with a friend's friend. Well, we looked, we went. I explained our process. They were highly impressed, but I said, well, you're going to hire me based on this process, but also you need to know how much experience is behind it, right? Because that's where we get educated. That's where we learn, is in the field. You don't learn how to do squat at real estate school. So we looked up the production numbers for each of these people.
And?
One of them had done 4 deals over the last 12 months, which is actually the average around the county. One of them had doubled the average and done 8 deals, so good for her. That was, better.
For the whole 12 months.
For the whole 12 months, but when we looked at mine, I had done 145. And so you have to know how much experience is behind the advice being given to you. And if you want to learn more about that 5-day Blitz, how did we bring 6 homes for sale in the last 2 weekends, and they are all under contract, the grand majority of those with multiple offers, call us, 800-676-2420, or you might ask to speak with Todd and Taisha on anything loan-related. That number's 800-676-2420. And coming out of break, we're going to discuss some big things happening here in the city.
I can't wait.
There are major things happening both on the in the landscape here with the Charger Stadium and everything that it's going to do and its effect downtown, and rents. If you are currently renting, boy, I feel your pain, because it's getting ugly out there. We're going to jump into it. We're also going to offer you some help. That's coming out of the break. You're listening to News Radio 600. This is Real Estate Exposed with Daniel Beer and Todd Pianin. Hey, we're back here in our second segment of Real Estate Exposed on News Radio 600 KOGO. Welcome back. I'm Daniel Beer with Todd Pianin. Daniel Beer of the Daniel Beer Group, your trusted neighborhood specialist, and Todd Pianin, the guy that saves a ridiculous amount of loans on behalf of our clients, as we were discussing in the previous segment.
I don't want to be known just as the savior, Dan. I want to be known as, your buyer's agents also send us loans too, and we do a really good job, and we have really good interest rates. I've saved a couple of your loans recently because you're the listing specialist.
I'm celebrating the gifts that you've given us here very recently, or given me personally. Of course you do, though, Todd. That's why, because of those rates, because of the rates, because of the service, because of the fact that you're going to get a no BS approval. And what's a BS approval versus a no BS approval? Right? A BS approval is the guy that's going to approve you into a loan, give you a pre-approval letter, but whoops, he missed something, or he ignored something, or he thought he'd get to squeeze something through, or because this person doesn't do a lot of loans, this person doesn't do a lot of business, and they're praying and hoping that the underwriter will overlook something so they can make some income. Meanwhile, you're locked into a deal, you're about to lose the house that you wanted, all while you could have been talking to somebody like Todd, who would have directly, even if it jeopardized, even if it wasn't exactly what you wanted to hear. But then again, do you want to hear BS or do you want to hear the truth?
Right.
You might have been speaking with someone like Todd, who would have identified that issue right up front and put a plan in place for you where you could actually move forward, because they have so many different products. See, what happens when you go and you're getting lending, right, from you walk into a big box bank, you only have what they're offering. That's all you have at your disposal. When you go to someone like Todd, yeah, their bank has all kinds of creative product, but they also are able to get you a specialized lending vehicle should you need one. So,
and we are a big box bank, but we have a little box mentality. So the other thing let's talk about the Chargers. Let's talk about what's happening in the Chargers right now, Dan. How do you feel about the fact that the stadium is coming back alive, that looks like we have a finance deal in place?
I'm tickled pink, man, and I don't think I've actually ever said that in my whole life.
I know, tickled pink. That's new for you.
That was new. I tried it out. I don't know if I liked it.
How do you feel about the fact that they're?
I love it. So
this deal could actually happen.
They've put what I think is an extremely viable plan in place. Okay, and the only people that are going to go against this deal here locally are those that just cannot wrap their mind around a quote-unquote rich person, in this case the Spanos,
right,
getting anything for what seemingly looks like for free. But let's get something straight. The Spanos family, along with the NFL, are putting $650 million into the stadium.
They are.
$650 million coming from the Spanos family and from the NFL.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then all they're proposing here in order to help finance the deal isn't that we take anything from the current pool of money that the city has.
Right.
They're proposing a new pool generated from hotel tax, which, by the way, they're going to be they're going to be a huge driver of driving more hotel occupancy and of elevating San Diego to even a higher level of excellence in this country. This is a world-class city, and the Chargers are trying to make sure that we stay one, where they are looking to push that property or that hotel tax to 16.5% from its current 12.5% level. That additional revenue would support this $1.15 billion project, which doesn't, by the way, only address the stadium, but also is inclusive of a convention center expansion.
Really?
And so
that means Comic-Con could stay too?
Comic-Con would stay. By the way, driving more hotel occupancy, driving more of these taxes. It's a beautiful thing.
And we could get the Super Bowl could come back to San Diego?
The Super Bowl would come back. If you could only imagine, it would come back, actually, it'd be on a permanent rotation. And if you could only imagine look, folks, we're focusing right now on the money, okay? But let's actually step back, because I regret being so focused on the money. When we get to make choices on where we live. We pay this, California sunshine tax that we're told about. We pay a heavy, bill for being here in Southern California.
Right.
Why do we do it? Is it really just purely for the sunshine? I mean, is there nobody smiling in Milwaukee? No, of course there are. And it's because there are things such as having an NFL pro team, whether you watch the games or not, whether you go or not. If you could take yourself back to 1994, 1995, the Chargers in the Super Bowl, the excitement. I mean, you had buildings around the city coordinating their lighting in their windows to make lightning bolts. You had, you had 70,000 fans pack the stadium as they flew back from Pittsburgh.
Right.
These are the experiences and the memories. At the time, I was in middle school at the time, and these are the memories that shape you, that are going to shape our children, and that I want to share with my kids.
Right.
And I urge you that if this makes it to a ballot, and by the way, you're going to start being able to sign the
petition.
The petition to get this on the ballot. You're going to be able to sign that here very shortly. It just has to go through a 21-day waiting period of being announced on the San Diego Union Tribune as legal notice.
Right.
I urge you to sign it. Get it done. Whether we make $1, we don't make $1, look, plenty of revenue will be generated. That is not debatable. And if there's a little bit of a cost to having San Diego be a world-class city and give our children the memories that I was given as a kid, we need to make that happen.
So Dan, if this goes through, and I think it's probably going to go through because San Diegans want to keep our Chargers. We love our Chargers. We're real estate exposed. So how will that affect our real estate market?
I have no doubt in the world that you're going to see a boom further into East Village, okay? East Village has done great, but East Village is a lot larger than most people realize. It goes way back there. You know, you're talking that East Village is primarily developed right now up to about 12th Avenue, right, which turns into Park. But you're talking about it going all the way back to about 17th and all the way north to, let me think this through, roughly about E or F, right? And so that is a massive amount of city blocks that are going to go through a ton of development should this happen. Not to mention that you're going to see the places like Barrio Logan, one of the most, richest, most colorful parts of San Diego County. You're going to see that continue to thrive. There's already all kinds of money pouring into that neighborhood, and you're going to see a very, very culturally rich but widely appealing neighborhood that every San Diegan will want to come and visit and have dinner, and it's going to just be a great thing. And I want to very quickly tie up property in that area for my family so that we can benefit from the real estate.
But how does it affect our average San Diegan who lives lives in Rancho Bernardo, lives in Chula Vista, lives in Solana Beach, lives in Cardiff?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts if this goes through? I'm assuming that more families probably will come to this. You'll have families moving in too. What you're talking about East Village, you're really talking single millennials kind of type people, I'm assuming, right?
But I'm also talking, I have a family.
Right.
And I'm not going to go live there, but I'm going to benefit from it. I'm going to go and tie property up of my own. I'm going to buy a little condo. I'm going to see what I can pick up. But how does it affect, someone in Rancho Bernardo directly on their property value? I would venture to say not at all. But let's pull out of the money conversation and talk about that family in Rancho Bernardo, making it a family tradition that every Sunday they go downtown with their kids. Maybe they go to the Children's Museum. They go to this event where their family comes together and has an incredible time, and right in the heart of San Diego County. This is going to be a beautiful thing should it happen, and I'm just so excited that we're even able to have this conversation because I would have sworn they were gone.
Well, we talked about this 4 months ago. We thought they were going to be the LA Chargers, right? I
had no doubt. It's amazing that we're here right now.
So exciting. It's such exciting news. You had something else you want to talk about. You want to talk about rental prices,
Yeah,
Dan.
We just have to very quickly talk about rents. Todd brought it to my attention that rents have hit over $1,600 on average in San Diego County.
Wow.
Over $1,600. If you're renting, you need to go immediately to your phone and call Todd and figure out what kind of low down payment options are there. Maybe you've saved a larger down payment, but you might be shocked to find out that you are paying more than what it would cost to own.
Well,
or maybe you're not shocked because we've been saying this over and over.
But
Why?
if you're a veteran or you're in the military, you put zero down. So you don't have to put anything down.
I'm going to give the number, Todd, and then let's talk about that further. 800-676-2420. You cannot afford to not reach out to Todd and his team at Home Street and figure out what it would look like financially to own instead of rent. Look, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You made a phone call. You talked to Todd. You got to say hello. So, big deal.
Right.
Make the phone call and find out, and then let's take it from there. 800-676-2420. Coming out of the break, if you're thinking about selling your home on your own, good luck. We're going to show you why. And we're going to jump into a case study from one of our very own listeners here on Real Estate Exposed. What you should do if you're facing a critical issue with your equity and you're driving up debt. We're going to help you through it. This is Real Estate Exposed. Daniel Beer and Todd Pianin. Welcome back, Real Estate Exposed, segment 3. It has been a great morning, and we're going to talk about the for sale by owner out there. Now, let's get something straight, okay? The for sale by owner rate has dropped to 8%, which is the all-time low. Only 8% of homes are sold that way.
Really?
Across the country. And it's it's dropped from 19%. From 19% to 8% over the last 20 years. And one of the reasons why.
Are they valuing realtors more, you think?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. We're going to go through the most important reasons.
Okay.
Oh, but yeah, that is absolutely, they're becoming aware that there's so much activity happening through agents that you can't afford to get rid of that. Plus, if you're in California,
right.
Here's reason number one. You just cannot FSBO. You cannot for sale by owner. Why? In all across the country, first off. All across the country, there is just so much more paperwork today than there was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you had about a one-page document. It was here, sign here, do this, done. You had about 1 or 2 pages to work through.
Right.
Okay? We have stacks and stacks of paperwork to work through now.
Right.
So,
well, we are the most litigious state in the union, I think.
Yeah, exactly, right? So you go from the fact that you have stacks of paperwork all over the country, add an additional stack or two because we're in California,
right?
And the fact that we have as much, such a litigious society here, especially in California, and forget about it. There is so much liability that you are really underestimating if you aren't using an agent to help protect yourself and not fall into the trap of, because you try to save $2,000, you ran into a $50,000 lawsuit.
Well, I also got to say, Dan, it's also like a sound. I mean, I don't know when you're going to go through the list, you'll talk about it, but I hear you on the phone with your clients all the time, and it's also like having, I don't mean to say a therapist, but like a sounding board to go off of stuff too. I mean, you give people the positives and negatives. I mean, you never tell any of your clients this is what they should do. I always hear when you talk to them, you always say to them, in my opinion, this is what could happen if you do this, and this is what could happen if you do that. I mean, it's just...
Right. This is what I've seen over the course of hundreds of transactions. Right?
Right.
This is what I've seen happen.
Right.
Decision, of course, is yours. But when you're doing a for sale by owner...
You don't have that. You don't have that expert in your corner.
Keep in mind that even people out there that call themselves professional agents, most agents are going to average, the average, literally, factually, the average agent will sell in our market 4 homes a year. So the average agent is successful about once a quarter.
Right.
Once every 3 months.
Right.
Okay, so how much, so in other words, look, it's hard to sell a home. It is difficult. When your average agent is only successful once every 3 months, and you go out there, in cowboy style to go and get your deal done, you have to be realistic with, even if you get it sold, how well was it sold? Here's something to consider. There are too many people to negotiate with. Okay, that's a reason that you really might want to hire an agent. There are just simply too many people to negotiate with over the course of a transaction.
What do you mean?
Well, you have to negotiate with the buyer,
right,
who wants the best possible deal.
Right.
You need to negotiate with the buyer's agent, whose sole responsibility, whose legal responsibility contractually through their agency agreement is to protect the buyer.
Right.
Okay? Because even those that for sale by owner, the majority of them are still dealing with an agent who wisely has with a buyer who wisely has an agent.
Right.
Okay? Now, the home inspection will happen. The home inspection is being done on behalf of the buyer. You're going to get... See, what a lot of people don't realize is not only do you have to lock in the right buyer to do the deal, now you have to close it. And there's all kinds of pitfalls you have to navigate when closing, including the inspection and the disclosure process.
Right.
So there's a second round of negotiation in any real estate transaction. Okay, so whether it's been a long time for you since you've done a transaction or you're about to do your first, not only do you have to negotiate the deal itself, but then once under contract, there's a second round of negotiating once the inspection's done.
Have you ever had a real estate transaction, let's say in the last 12 months, Dan, that they haven't tried to renegotiate after the physical inspection?
No.
They always try to.
To some degree.
Right.
From, hey, we want $1,000 to we want
a pool.
$20,000.
Right.
Okay, like it's literally upwards of $20,000 we've seen.
Right.
And so you're going to have to negotiate through those repairs. Now, going back to what Todd was saying, Todd, you mentioned the experience of it. Here's what I've seen happen over the course of 300 deals, etc. You need somebody that can bring you the experience of when you do see a request for repair in a second round of negotiation from a buyer. You need someone that could explain to you, item 1, 2, 3, and 4, those are very reasonable items. And in my experience, any buyer that buys your home would ask for the same thing. So if we lose this deal because we say no to item 1, 2, 3, and 4, then your next buyer is just going to ask for those again, and you're going to be back in the same position. But item 5, 6, and 7 that they're asking for, now those are not repairs. Those are not reasonable, and we should absolutely, we would suggest that you counter those out.
But Dan, I sold my house as is. I had you list my house as is. So why am I having to do this?
The buyer or the seller that'll say that we're selling it as is, and this is something that a for sale by owner runs into constantly, where they believe it'll be as is because they say it's as is.
Right.
Well, saying it's as is doesn't in any way remove the buyer's right to inspect and to request. And even if you say no to the request because you had mentioned it'd be as is,
right,
the buyer still has the right to cancel. And so where we're going with it is who's guiding you through, who's guiding you through a number of things. One set of guidance you need on the inspection side of it is, let's talk about tub diverters, right? The tub diverter is that little stick where you pull up the, at your tub, and then all of a sudden the water comes out of the shower. That's the tub diverter.
Okay.
On over 50% of the homes we sell, we see defective tub diverters that just needs some adjusting. But we'll get sellers that say, "Oh, we're not doing it no matter what." Well, you need an agent that can sit down and center you a little bit and say, "Listen,
it's a $10
I know
fix.
It's annoying.
Right.
I know it's completely annoying, but we're doing a $multi-$100,000 transaction here. Let's not lose it over an hour of having a handyman tinker around with this thing."
Right.
$10.
Right.
Or that's not an hour of handyman work, right? $45. But the handyman's only going to spend about 5 minutes with that item. He'll knock out 3 other items.
Exactly.
So you need some perspective in that respect, but you also need somebody in your corner that when they ask for an upgraded electrical panel or they ask for your popcorn ceiling to be scraped, well, it's like, wait a second, Mr. Buyer. You saw the popcorn ceiling at
when you wrote the offer.
When you wrote the offer.
Right.
And by the way, this would be true if they came through a process like ours with our 5-day blitz. You saw 30 or 40 or 50 other people at the home when you were there.
Right.
So you're not the only show in town, and we're gonna counter that out. If you don't like it, please understand that we have plenty of people ready to buy this home.
Right.
So you need to know how to navigate these items, which could easily cost you thousands of dollars. Secondly, you're going to also have to negotiate with the appraiser, right? The appraiser is also going to question the value.
What do you mean
property.
Negotiate with the appraiser?
Well, the appraiser is going to show up.
Right.
Right.
You need to, the list is you as the listing agent. I would hope that you would bring comps to the listing.
You need to have a way of sharing with this appraiser who's just showed up and is now going to tell you exactly what the home is worth, despite what you think, the buyer thinks, the buyer's agent thinks. Even if you had multiple offers, all those other buyers thought.
Right.
Well, this appraiser is going to show up and tell you the real answer, and I hope you can sense the sarcasm in my voice. Well, you're going to have a way of negotiating with that appraiser.
Hey, we had an appraisal come in today.
What was it?
That was on an apartment complex. On a condo. And I know that Danny, your buyer's agent's always concerned when he sells condos because when they go over the asking price, came in at the sales price. Over asking, came in at the sales price.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And we love that.
Yes.
But it's not always going to be the case for you. So you have to, we had another one recently in Chula Vista where it came in below the sales price, but the buyer was going to be forced to pay, bring money out of pocket in order to be able to close on this home. And so the buyer asked that, we rebuttal the appraisal. And so we sat down and put together a page-long rebuttal, and we won and got the appraisal taken back up to the price that the buyer was wanting to pay so that they didn't have to come in with additional money. Here's another one for you. 33% of sales in the marketplace come from an agent. Now, 92% of sales are done with agents, but 33% of them come from the agent, meaning that the agent that the buyer didn't learn about the property through the internet or through the newspaper or through an open house or through a yard sign.
So
but the agent literally said, "Hey, Mr. Buyer, I have something for you.
Right.
You need that. You need that exposure. Okay? You need that exposure." And finally, the biggest thing that every for sale by owner misses, the biggest thing that every for sale by owner misses is they believe they're saving commission. Yet, right off the bat, your goal is wrong. As a seller, your goal should be to make the most money on the sale of your home.
Can I tell you why they think they're saving the commission and why you can tell me I'm wrong?
Yeah, absolutely.
So they think they're saving the commission because they think that they don't have to pay you, Dan Beer, 3% to sell their home. So they think if they list their home for $500,000, they're saving $15,000. But let me guess what you're going to say back is that the for sale by owner, the guy who's trying to buy the house already knows there's no agent involved, so he thinks he's going to be able to get a $15,000 discount on the sales price.
Yeah, bingo, right? So the buyer is in the buyer that goes after a for sale by owner is also a unique breed. This is the type, these people frequent. They're not used to shopping at Tiffany's, right? They're used to shopping at the swap meet for the most part. And so the buyer of this for sale by owner is also looking for the discount. So who's going to get it? You're all chasing the same little pocket of money, and it is a big flaw in the logic. Your biggest mistake as a for sale by owner is thinking is having a strategy of wanting to save money when your strategy should be to make money. And when you want to go out and make money and have the biggest check written to you at the close of escrow, that's where you're going to win. We're going to go to break, and we're going to go into a case study here. You're listening to Real Estate Exposed with Daniel Beer and Todd Pianin. Todd Pianin at Home Street Bank. Daniel Beer, Windermere Real Estate, the Daniel Beer Group.
You can reach us at
800-676-2420. Let's talk this through. 800-676-2420. And coming up next, we're going to go into a case study of one of our very own listeners. We're back with you. And, man, today has absolutely flown by. We're in our final segment, and it's been a great morning with you here on a Sunday.
It has flown by. This has been like the quickest show we've done in a long time.
It's just a lot to talk about,
yeah.
and we hope you've gotten a lot of value out of the show. This is Real Estate Exposed. I'm Daniel Beer with Todd Pianin. Todd Pianin of Home Street Bank, just really one of the finest lenders in Southern California, and Daniel Beer, the Daniel Beer Group at Windermere. If we can help you buy or sell, please let us know. The number's 800-676-2420. But we're going to jump into a case study of one of our listeners. I was having a conversation with one of our listeners this past week, and here's the scenario that was laid out. And of course, we'll keep their identity completely confidential, but this is important, okay? Because there's a lot of even in the midst of all the excitement going on, there's low inventory and pricing is good, and there's a lot of good news going on out there, and we tend to really focus on it. But there are people that go through some hard times,
right?
And so I was talking with a gentleman, really nice guy. Really, really enjoyed speaking with him. He has a property here in Escondido, and he owns it free and clear. It's about a $425,000 or so property, completely free and clear. However, he's lost his job.
Okay.
He's lost his job. He has absolutely no income, and he's an older gentleman.
Right.
He doesn't yet have Social Security. And he's been funding his life through some kind of equity line that I'm not sure where he, or that I don't know where he got it from.
Okay.
Okay, but he has some kind of equity line where he's funding his life, and his life's, running his life on a monthly basis is about $2,400.
Okay.
And he's ran up about $15,000 in debt so far.
Okay.
He has $400 and something thousand tied up in this property, and he's funding it through debt. So
right.
Essentially, it might look like he's, hanging on to his equity somehow, but really it's getting eroded through the debt that he's piling up. And he called and just wants to know, what should I do? And what we talked about is, in my view, if you're in a similar situation, I've talked to 2 or 3 people over the last 6 months in similar positions. So I wanted to make sure we discuss this. And Todd, if you have an alternate, outlook on this, by all means. But here's what I told him. In that position, I really believe that home needs to be sold. The debt, the $15,000 debt, and thank God it's only $15,000.
Right.
Needs to be paid off. And we talked about moving to a different, to a different place, to a different lifestyle. And this particular gentleman already owns a trailer, and he's open to going out of state. And why on earth wouldn't he take the $400 and something thousand of equity?
Right.
Let's just call it $400K by the time he pays off his debt.
Right.
Why doesn't he take the $400K, buy a little plot of land, put his trailer on it? You can buy a nice piece of land in other parts of the country for $20,000.
Right.
Literally.
Right.
And then he'd have about $380,000 invested with somebody like Stephanie Bernier from Wealth Consulting Group, who manages my money.
Right.
I would introduce them, and then she would get that that $380,000 that he has left over, generating income for him
to live.
And he would just completely remove this very stressful, the stress of piling up this equity. I mean, this debt, which is giving him the false impression of saving and hanging on to his equity, when really what it's doing is, as that debt grows, equity is going away.
Eating away at it, yeah.
If you have a similar situation, you want to talk through a solution, and you want something custom tailored to you, give us a phone call. The way to connect with Todd or I is 800-676-2420. 800-676-2420. We'll have a confidential conversation, and we'll put a lot of time and care into it. And so it's been a great Sunday. I'm going to sign off and hand the mic over here to Todd. Thank you. We're looking forward to having you back next week.
I work for Home Street Bank. I'm a member of the FDIC, an equal housing lender, NMLS ID number 304014. Have a great Sunday, everybody. We love you.